names of that momentous day have survived in our written history and folklore. 5 of them are on our Ghanaian currency: Joseph Boache Dankwa, Emmanuel Ubeche Bilanti, William Oforiatta, Ebenezer Akwaje, and Edward Akufo-Addo. Kwame Nkrumah, the 6th of the big currency on the currency, the big 6 on the currency, was to join them later. And there are others equally important that we should not forget. And I pay homage to George Power Grant, R.S. Blake, Kwabena Kessing, J.W. de Graaf Johnson, and Francis Awuno Williams, amongst others. The speech the Ghanaian Colossus Dankwa made on that day deserves to be liberally quoted on a day like this. He said, and I quote, "Love of freedom from foreign control has always been in our blood. 870 years ago, we struck against the attempt of the Arabs to impose a religious slavery upon us in Ghana. We left our homes in Ghana and came down here to build a new home. But there is one thing we brought with us from ancient Ghana. We brought with us our ancient freedom. Today, the safety of that freedom is threatened. We must fight against the new domination, and we must fight with the weapons of today: constitutional, determined, persistent, unflinching, unceasing, until the goal of freedom is attained." Unquote. Dankwa captured the mood of the time and set our country on the path to independence. 4th August is truly a sacred and seminal day in the annals of the Ghanaian people. The unfolding of the story is well known. The UGCC leaders decided they needed a full-time person to run the party's affairs. They sent for the dynamic Kwame Nkrumah, who was then in the United Kingdom at the time, and he came to join them in December 1947. Soon thereafter, on 28 February 1948, the notorious and senseless killings of 3 ex-servicemen, Sergeant Ajete, Corporal Atipo, and Private Odate Lamte, occurred and sparked a nationwide revulsion against the colonial power, which undoubtedly quickened the pace of the independence movement. We celebrate the 3 martyrs, the 3 as martyrs in the cause of Ghanaian freedom. The Watson Commission followed, which mapped out the steps towards our eventual attainment of independence. In 1949, on 12 June, Kwame Nkrumah broke away from the UGCC and formed his own party, the Convention People's Party. Even as he broke away, Kwame Nkrumah remembered from whence he came and retained the word convention in the name of the new party, the Convention People's Party. Eventually, after much agitation, independence came, and Ghana, under the leadership of Kwame Nkrumah, became the first sub-Saharan country in Africa to gain its freedom on March 6, 1957. Dankwa had done the research and convinced himself and others that the bulk of the people that inhabit these lands migrated from the ancient kingdom of Ghana. On March 6, 1957, we lowered the British flag and jettisoned the name of Gold Coast that had been given to us and took on the name of Ghana, the name of our ancestral home. The name Ghana was meant to give us a fresh start and mark the break from colonialism. And it was also meant to serve as a link to our historical roots and the assurance that we have a history, culture, and civilization that preceded colonialism. We must remember on a day like this, some others who are not listed among the forefront fighters for political freedom, but who fought equally hard for our cultural integrity and the identification of who we are as Ghanaians. I pay homage to Ephraim Amu, Tata Amu, as he was fondly called. He was the composer of what easily passes as our unofficial national anthem, Yaya Sasieni. Is there a Ghanaian amongst us today who can hear or sing that song in whichever language without being moved? Ephraim Amu stood alone most of the time against what he saw as cultural domination. You did not have to wear a European cut suit to be a scholar. You could wear a fugu, kente, and above all, a locally woven fabric and still be an educated person, he argued. He insisted you did not have to eat foreign foods because you were a scholar, and he insisted our music was as interesting and sophisticated as any around the world. Those were radical ideas for the time. I pay homage today to Kwegyir Aggrey. He reminded us we were eagles that should soar and not be timid, domesticated birds. I pay homage to Philip Beho, the composer of our national anthem, Theodosia Oko, the designer of our national flag, and Amon Kote, the designer of our coat of arms. I pay homage to Kofi Antobam, the artist who first put Ghanaian artists on the map. I pay homage to Saka Akwe, the poet, writer, sculptor, and musician who wrote the first African folklore, The Lost Fisherman. I pay homage to J.A. Brymer, the Gonja scholar and statesman who wrote insightful publications about the Gonja people. I pay homage to the poet Apalu, who immortalized the philosophy and music of the Ewe language. I pay homage to E.T. Manson, King Bruce, Jerry Hansen, and the others who popularized high life, which has become an enduring identity of Ghanaian music. And I pay tribute to the great musicologist, J.H. Nkesia, who is the unrivaled authority on African music. I pay homage to Otumfuo Prempeh I, who waged a heroic, if unsuccessful, battle against the British and retained his dignity even in exile. I pay homage to Yaa Asantewaa, that woman of valor who led the Ashanti resistance to British imperialism. I pay homage to Nana Ofori-Atta I, who saw the wisdom in investing in the education of the III, Osu-Alata Manche, who organized the boycott of goods of the European traders and triggered the mass resistance that led to the 1948 riots. I pay homage to Professor Alexander Edum Kwapong, the first Ghanaian Vice-Chancellor of the University of Ghana, who became an icon in the development of our educational system. I pay homage to Dr. Oku Ampofo, sculptor and physician, who encouraged confidence in our traditional arts and medicine. It is thanks to him that herbal medicine became a respectable subject of study and research in our country. I pay homage to Akua Sabia, political activist, and I pay homage to Evelyn Amatefio, social welfare pioneer. I pay homage to Esther Oklu, pioneer industrialist and entrepreneur, whose food processing enterprise under the Nkulemu label changed our habits of food preparation forever. I pay homage to Dede Shikisha Menakwa Shoshosho, famous market queens who helped finance Kwame Nkrumah and the nationalist movement from their successful businesses. They and many others like them contributed to the fight for independence and in molding the Ghanaian that emerged on 6th March 1957. We were independent, and the world shared our excitement and wished us well. Our first president, Kwame Nkrumah, delivered his famous speech that midnight of March the 5th, 1957, a few hundred yards from here at the old polo grounds. He said, "We were free forever, and there cannot be a sweeter or more reassuring sound or set of words than those to a people emerging from oppression." He said our independence would prove that the black man or woman was capable of managing his or her own affairs. And then he said what has probably been the most quoted part of that speech. He said, and I quote, "The independence of Ghana was meaningless unless it was linked to the total liberation of the whole continent of Africa," unquote. In those words, Kwame Nkrumah sealed the fate of Ghana to the continent. He bequeathed to us Ghana's Pan-African vocation and its continent and its commitment to the unity and integration of Africa. We are grateful for his leadership and that of his principal colleagues, Kobla Agbeli-Gbedema, the organizational genius of the Convention People's Party, Kojo Bosio, its theoretician and strategist, and the others who occupy prides of place in the history of our nationalist movement. We are equally grateful for those in the opposition at independence who at great personal cost and in defiance of the infamous Preventive Detention Act were determined to hold aloft the banner of freedom and who insisted that the multi-party democratic state was the best form of governance for our nation. I refer to Joseph Boakai Dankwa, Emmanuel Obete Bilamte, Liberty Lamte, William Oforiatta, Simon Diedong Dombo, Kofi Abrefa Busia, Bafo Seyakoto, Victor Owusu, Ara Ramponsan, Joe Apia, S.G. Anto, Modesto Apalu, Ashidi Kwe, Ato Okai, and others. Our generation of Ghanaians have vindicated their stance, and we reaffirm that belief on 7th December 2016, when the Ghanaian people exercised their sovereign franchise in a dignified and serene manner to remove an incumbent and elect a new government. Once again, we demonstrated our deep attachment to democratic values and governance. The difficult times our country went through after independence were to be replicated across the continent. Dalliances with a one-party state, military interventions, political theory experimentations and instability, and the collapse of the economies, and with it, lives. I must pay homage to Professor Albert Eduboahene, the eminent historian, academic, and statesman. He found his voice, spoke out, and ended the culture of silence. His courage was the inspiration that sparked the agitation for the restoration of democratic rule. Finally, in Ghana, a consensus emerged with the coming into being of the Fourth Republic. We have agreed on a multi-party constitutional democracy and a guarantee of individual freedoms under the rule of law. These past 24 years have been the longest period of political stability our country has enjoyed since independence, and the effects are gradually showing. The pace of our development has quickened, and our self-confidence, which had been severely restrained, has returned. At independence, the popular slogan was to seek first the political kingdom, and all other things would be added. We assumed, and indeed we expected, that rapid economic development would follow the political freedom that we had won. Sadly, the economic dividend that was meant to accompany our freedom has still not materialized. 60 years after those heady days, the mass of our people are still poor. After 60 years, we have run out of excuses, and it is time to set Ghana to rights and get our country to where it should be. The challenge before us is to build our economy and generate a prosperous, progress, and dignified life for the mass of our people. Hard work, enterprise, creativity, discipline, and a consistent and effective fight against corruption in public life would bring the transformation we seek. We will achieve these goals when we move and act as a united people. We must take pride in our diversity by all means, but the Ghanaian must always rise above the ethnic or sectional interest. We have a bright future, and we must mobilize all our resources and all our strengths here and in the Ghanaian diaspora to get to that promised land of prosperity faster. It is turning out to be a constant refrain, I know, but on a day like this, we cannot ignore the state of our environment. We are endangering the very survival of the beautiful and blessed land that our forebears bequeathed to us. The dense forests that were home to varied trees, plants, and fauna have been largely wiped out. Today, we import timber for our use, and the description of our land as a tropical forest no longer fits the reality. Our rivers and lakes are disappearing, and those that still exist are all polluted. It bears repeating that we do not own the land, but hold it in trust for generations yet unborn. We have a right to exploit the bounties of the earth and extract the minerals and even redirect the path of rivers, but we do not have the right to denude the land of the plants and fauna, nor poison the rivers and lakes. There is nothing we can do better to pay homage to those who fought to free us from bondage than to dedicate this 60th independence anniversary to protecting our environment and regenerating the lands and water bodies. I am confident that we can achieve the dreams of our forebears. I am hopeful that we will be worthy inheritors of this land, and I urge that we wear the accolade of being a Ghanaian with pride. Let us mobilize for the happy and prosperous Ghana of tomorrow, in which all of us, including our youth, our women, and the vulnerable in our society, will have equal opportunities to realize our potential and build lives of dignity. Then our independence will be meaningful. Then we will have a Ghana beyond aid. 2 months ago at my inauguration on these grounds, I demanded we renew the sacred compact that comes with being able to call yourself a Ghanaian citizen. I am proud that I am able to say today without equivocation, I am a Ghanaian citizen. I wish you all a happy Diamond Jubilee anniversary and God's blessings. May the Almighty bless our homeland Ghana and make her great and strong.
T.